All right, hey guys, Sam here on a Monday morning, November 13th, and I've got Bitcoin up here. This is I'm staying with our reference chart. This is the 4 hour on Bitstamp. And we can take a look here. So we've had pretty much the movement over this last 10, 12 hours. I mean, like I could not have scripted this any better. So if you recall, if you caught the video on Sunday, that we had, after breaking this swing low, or pardon me, this swing high here, and invalidating the potential count here with this as a third to go up one more time, we have relabeled. So we are operating now under the premise that we have a completed 5-wave structure here. This move from call it 3,000 to what would we get, 78, 88, that move now appears to be complete. I still this swing high here, I'm still a little suspect of, but we got to trade what we see here. So right now we have come down here on Bitstamp, and we've been we came shy of the 50. So Bitstamp, this is just an algo front run. So they've taken this up, and you can see per the expectation, since we had a nice clean 5-wave subdivision here in this movement that came down here to the 50, we can comfortably label that as an A wave, and our expectation was that we would then go into a 3-wave B to just stay right by the Elliott playbook. And that's exactly what we've done here. So the B comes down, doesn't get to a new low, then we get a reaction, and we've gone exactly to, I think I drew this box yesterday. The expectation would be that the first resistance you were going to run into was the 50. All right, so we've got right into the box here. We didn't get to this pivot, so that's why I drew the box here. So for those that are comfortable being sellers, well, there's your trade right there. You can already tighten the stop up. Me, I don't like to short Bitcoin, so I'm always looking for the next buy. Now on a shorter time frame, there's potentially a little scalp trade setting up. But working off of a 4-hour, where we work most of our trades, 4-hour and 1 hour, we go to the 15 for fine tuning or to get a better look at the subdivision into a move that we're trying to analyze here from an Elliott perspective. Right now we can look at this and say, well, we got a couple of scenarios here. So we can look at that 50. So the algo target is down here. Here's the negative 23 here at 49.94 on Bitstamp. We have this very critical, as I pointed out the other day, this very critical swing high here. Per the daily count, this is an important pivot. This needs to hold, or we're going to have to relabel things on a larger degree. But right now, this is the pivot to be paying attention to, and it's very interesting that the negative 23 from this 50, this algo target, is within a few ticks of this swing. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. Now, of course, as I mentioned the other day, nothing mandates that the C wave has to move beyond the A wave, right? As I showed the other day in Bitcoin Cash, and we see it all over crypto, that we're seeing these truncated C waves, which creates, in traditional technical analysis, you're getting a triangle, right? In this case, these have been from an Elliott perspective, you're getting the shallow C. So one possible target to be very conscious of is to pull from that A, project it from what now appears to be a good B, although we can't be definitive just yet. So here's the 618 of the A wave. So this is a very reasonable place to be looking as a potential area of support. That would be a revisit, and as relates to Bitstamp here, it'd be coming right back to the 50, which since it was shy here, this is a reasonable spot to be looking for a next long. Now, the other alternative, of course, is down here where we have the 61865 pocket that we always look for. But we don't want to see this swing high taken. So if you're waiting down here, this would be bad news for bulls. So I'm gonna be, for myself, I would be looking to start here in this little box. I'd be looking for this, and of course you don't just blindly buy it. You can use your oscillators for some help. We want to see a little volume come in there. You want to see the market stabilize down there. It's not just a blind limit order sitting there. But that's definitely one spot, and just to be consistent, let me put that in green. So this is a spot to be looking for. Now here's where going to a smaller time frame can be useful. The next one, I guess I'll move this over so it lines up. The next one would be here, but I'd be buying it cautiously here with a very tight stop, because if we take this out, then this whole count is invalidated. Doesn't mean we couldn't come down and wick the 618 and then move higher, but it means we've got to relabel the entire thing. So I'm cautious about this spot down here. So would I buy it? Yeah, I would buy that, but my stop's going to be very tight, very tight. So this is a contender. I like this potentially here. We know algos will be buying here at the 50, but they'll keep buying it all the way down to 618. Remember, algos, they're not trading off of an Elliott wave pattern. They're just working off of the 50 and the 618 and the negative 23s. That's all that's happening there. They keep it simple. So this is a spot you definitely want to alert this, and this is the next one to be alert of. So, of course, we'll be updating this as we go. If it's going to stay to script, if we look here, let me get this here. So if we look at the alternate price projection for the more traditional C wave, well, now we're way down here. Here's the 100%. There's the A wave projected from what is currently labeled as the B wave, and we don't know for sure that's our top. But if we're going to go to 100%, we're down here. We've taken out this pivot here, this critical pivot, so that can no longer be a one wave, and then we got to relabel the whole thing on the daily, and we got to sort of get a sense of where we are on the larger degrees, before getting committed to anything new. So if we were to go down there, then of course the safer way to approach that as we're going through an entire relabeling would be to look for some reaction and then wait for the first retrace as a safer way to take that, because we'd potentially have a change of trend. So I guess my point being, well, the dominant point is we don't want this to break, right? If you're a bull, you want that to hold. So we'll wait and see what the case is if we're going to go down here and break these levels. But that is definitely a spot you want to have an alert on. So we'll adjust accordingly if we come down and challenge that. Right now, we're just right by the script. So let's go to the 1 hour and let me go. I've been trading it over on HIT BTC, which I kind of like this exchange. Was having some issues with Kraken. Some of my members were having some issues. So I really like their interface. This is the 60-minute on HIT BTC. And you can see here's the 50, and we get this nice subdivision. So you can see now on the hourly how we get this nice 5-wave subdivision, and on HIT BTC we went a few ticks right from the 50. So I like that precision. So again, if that's our B wave, well, we've got these challenges down here. There's our critical pivot here. There's the algo target at negative 23, and there's the 618. So these are going to be really interesting to see if we're going back down. And of course, what's happening now as Bitcoin is stronger, you're seeing the alts start some retracement, and it's going to be very interesting to see if Bitcoin is going to go back down and challenge these lows. That should send the alts up again. So it's kind of interesting to watch how these are all interrelating. We can look at the alternate price projection here. So if we go from our A wave to our B wave and project down, well, there's the 618 again. That's a contender. I don't like to see it just out there floating by itself. As I've often mentioned, you want to look for confluence, right? So can I find anything else to stack my odds on if I wanted to be a buyer here? Because I'm in between. I'm kind of in no man's land there between the 50 and the 618, and that's a fairly big scale there. That's 5,400 to 4,800, so you got a $600 range there. So too much to be a buyer at the 50 with a stop under the 65. That's just too much. Well, put it this way, I wouldn't give it that much room. So if we're going to come down here, I want to look for some subdivision. If I'm going to get a C, I'm expecting it to come down in a 5-wave structure. So I'm looking for something along these lines. So if I were to get there, let me put the wave on just to kind of make the point. If we're going to get to the 618 here, I want to see that kind of subdivision, much like we had here in the A wave, to give me some degree. So then I can start doing some some price projections for my 1 wave relative to my 4 wave. Can I get a confluence zone right here? Right here, just by itself, that's not enough. Not enough to take the trade. So I want to see this kind of price action if I'm going to come here. At that point here, at least on HIT BTC, we're below the A wave. So it plays a little bit better in terms of traditional Elliott ABCs, but nothing says you have to stay traditional. So we trade what we see, and we trade where we can find odds plays that give us some degree of advantage and confidence, and good risk reward is always what the critical component is. Can we enter here with a tight stop that will invalidate the count, but not have an $600 to $800 range from where our entry is to where our stop is? All right, so one to watch. The only other thing I wanted to show you is that on the 15-minute, where I think I have it over here still on Kraken, but this is a trade that's potentially here. You can see this unfolding, and so this is the C wave of the potential B wave, right? So remember, it's always waves within waves, which I know can be confusing. But you see here now. So if you think of it in let me go back to the 4 hour. So if you look here at the 4 hour, we don't know for sure that the B wave is in here. We have the potential for this to go up one more time to challenge the 618, and we've seen B waves. We've seen B waves go up to the 786. So nothing says that this is now for sure our pivot here. But if we go down to the 15-minute, we can look at it and say, well, how could that play out? Well, here's a 1, 2, 3, and we're getting a nice look. Look, see, I keep these off to the side, so it's easy to mark them. Well, so potentially I've got a little ABC here on the 15-minute coming down for the 50, the Vegas wave, all lining up. So if you're looking for buy opportunities, as I am, we've got a potential fourth coming in here, which would be a fourth of the C wave of the B wave. I know it's hard to verbalize that, but if looking at the chart, hopefully here this starts to make sense. So the idea would be potentially there's one more push back up, one more push to complete the 5 wave of the C wave of the B wave, right? I know it sounds crazy just to even say it out loud, but that's exactly what we're looking for. So as it relates here to the hourly, it would create one more push up. So the B wave comes over here, the C wave comes over here. So we have potential to go up into this range here from the 618 to the 786, where we might get that final push up for a B wave. And then, right, so see that is not necessarily a bad thing for us, because if that's the if this becomes the B wave, right? So now we go back. Let's see, I already have it up here. So I'll just draw it again. So if we look at it this way, look what that does to the 618. So if this is my A and then my B goes up here to the 786, well, now my 618 comes down here, and my 100%, see, that's kind of what we're hoping for. My 100%, if you can see it right here, comes in right with the negative 23, and it in fact overlaps the algo target if we're going up to the 786. And we don't know that we are, but that gives us the kind of confluence that we're looking for. So we've got, take note there, so you'd have that important swing pivot here in the yellow dash. You'd have the negative 23, that's the algo profit target, and you'd have the 100% alternate price projection from the B relative to the A. So that would be a better setup for us, because then we have multiple places to be looking here, and we've got this big cluster, this big confluence where we've got multiple fib projections and targets in conjunction with a traditional Elliott pattern, right? So you get pattern, price, structure, all of it lining up. But we don't know that we're going to get that yet, because how will we know? Well, we got to see the reaction here. Do we get a last leg up for this fifth of this B of this of the C of the B? It's hard to verbalize it, but if you just start charting it out, it'll start to make sense of where we are. And that's where going from the 4 hour to the 1 hour to the 15-minute can be advantageous, because we can get a sense of where we are within the larger trend. So this is a candidate here, as potentially a buy. A buy here at the 50, if we're coming down here, that's 63.60 with an upside target here of 71.25. That's a about an $800 swing, right? So nothing wrong with being a swing trader here looking to be a buyer, but we still have to respect the dominant trend, this pattern now, which is down given the 5-wave sequence that we saw from on the larger degree. So if I go back here, this is what's defining the trend. This 5-wave sequence currently defines the trend. So trend is now down, at least on the shorter term, right? Long term, of course, our trend is up in Bitcoin, but on this shorter degree, within this correction, the 5-wave leads our bias, if you will, until we complete the 3 waves of the correction. Right? So hopefully that makes sense. All right, let me wrap it there. As this progresses, hopefully we'll get some clarity on where we are. But for the meantime, we're right to script. Where we head next will be a huge tell in terms of where the next really strong buy will set up. Okay, I'll wrap it there.